Hello everyone and welcome to my top 100 games of all time that I love to play. I am Mate Nason and I will be counting down today games number 60 to 51. The first game I would like to talk about today is Explorers of the North Sea. Came out in 2016, currently ranked number 1005 on Board Game Geek. Explorers of the North Sea is a tile laying game where you will be with a group of people building out this North Sea and discovering islands. And on these islands you'll be finding animals and other resources. You'll be filling up your boats, bringing them back to your board in order to fulfill objectives. It's a great exploring game. I love tile laying games. You kind of want to conquer these islands. You want to make sure that you are finishing them off. You can get in other people's way by putting tiles in inconvenient locations. All in all, it's just a fun little romp game. Not too complicated, but a very good play, and that is Explorers of the North Sea. My number 59 game is a worker placement game, but also it's a tile placement game mostly, and that is Rajas of the Ganges. This game came out in 2017. It's currently ranked number 161 on Board Game Geek. In Rajas, what you're going to be doing is each player will have their own player board where you will be laying down tiles Carcassonne style to kind of build these roadways with different markets and different resources. And you're trying to connect all these roadways to your palace and also to the edge of your player board where you're going to get all these bonuses. As you're doing that, you're also going to be rolling dice in order to select different worker options on the main board. One of the neat things about this game on the main board that I love is this river track. I love games where you can move ahead but you can't go back and select different options. You're also trying to keep track of your fame points as you're going around the outside of the board. You unlock more workers as you are meeting these different requirements. But the game is basically a tile placement game with some worker placement on a central board. And I do love a good tile placement game. You should definitely check out Rajas of the Ganges, my number 59. Number 58 is one of the most popular board games out there, and I still love it, and that is Seven Wonders. This game came out in 2010. It's ranked number 60 on BoardGameGeek.com. I can't say enough great things about Seven Wonders. It is one of those games where it takes as much time to play whether you're doing it with 3 people or 7. It's got simultaneous turns. It's a drafting game. I love drafting games. Turns go really fast. You get handed some cards. Okay, I want this one, pass it on, grab the next one. You're trying to collect sets. You're trying to collect resources in order to complete the wonder on your board right in front of you. You need to pay attention to the players to your left and rights because you can buy goods from them, but the other players at the table you can't interact with the exception of hate drafting. You need to maybe make sure, okay, this player is getting a lot of those green science cards. They're kind of running away with points there. I need to make sure I don't let that get around the table. So much fun. Seven Wonders. I love it with the expansions, the city expansions, the leader expansions. Great game. Moving on down the list to game number 57 is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Kind of getting a theme here of some tile laying games, and this is no exception. Castles of Mad King Ludwig, you're going to be basically building your own castle in front of you. You'll be drafting, not really drafting, you'll be purchasing tiles from the center board that each turn a player takes a turn setting the prices of these tiles. So you kind of have this closed economy market here where if you are the master builder, you might draw some tiles and be like, oh, everyone's really interested in this kitchen tile this turn. I'm going to put this really expensive. And then when people buy it, the money goes to that master builder. However, you can't make things too expensive or else no one will buy it. When you get these tiles, again, you're building this castle right in front of you. You're trying to connect different rooms together because rooms give you adjacency bonuses. And it is just so neat when the game is done to look around the table, see everybody's castle, and you kind of it's not a storytelling game, but you have this neat little story of oh, I've got this beautiful king's bedroom right next to this really loud amphitheater. That don't make any sense, but that's funny. It is a neat game. Plays pretty quickly. Not a lot of player interaction except for that market phase, but it is just a fun game, and that is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. My number 56 game is a game by Donald Vasarino. I believe I'm saying his name right. He is the designer of Dominion, and this game is Kingdom Builder. This game came out in 2011, currently ranked 544 on Board Game Geek. Kingdom Builder is a game where you have the central board of different regions, desert regions, forest regions, and you are placing your little kingdom houses down on these boards. This game is so much fun because every game is different. There are so many region boards with different types of terrain. Every game has different objectives. You shuffle this big deck of objective cards. Some objectives might say try to build your kingdom in lots of straight lines. Other objectives might be try to get your kingdoms next to all the waterways. And every turn you're drawing a region card, and then you have to place your houses on a region of that color. And so the game is deterministic from that point, from the luck of the draw, but you can mitigate that by getting all of these bonuses. You can get bonuses like at the end of your turn, you can move a house 3 spaces any direction. So you can kind of move them around to try to get them in the regions you need to score those points. Turns go really fast in this game too. You just draw a card, place your houses, do your bonuses, and then move on to the next player. A lot of fun, a lot of variety, and that is Kingdom Builder, my number 56. Number 55 is a game by Matt Garretts, who has fame, of course, of Imperial and Concordia, and this is Navigator. Navigator came out in 2010, currently ranked 226 on Board Game Geek. Navigator has one of the best market games that I've ever played. You're basically sending out your ships from Europe to sail around Africa and South America, going around the Horn of Africa to India, all the way to Japan. It has a lot of different mechanics. It's kind of a race game in the sense that once those ships sail all the way around, it triggers the end phase of the game. So if someone's rushing really quick there, the game will end sooner. If people take their time to really establish their trade colonies, the game will take a little longer. The market is just beautifully done. It's so simple. You're basically building these production buildings where you take the raw goods and produce them into finished goods. And when someone brings back a lot of raw goods, the price drops all of a sudden, so they're not worth as much. But then you can, what that does is it does the inverse, where all of a sudden the processed goods are worth a lot. So the unprocessed goods are worth nothing, but now the processed goods are worth a lot. And so then now you want to start processing them. So you're really playing off of each other. There's a lot of interaction through this market. Where you can kind of see what one person is doing, so you want to maybe invest in the inverse of that. Really fun, and that is Navigator, my 55. Number 54 is an Alexander Pfister game, and that is Great Western Trail. This game came out in 2016, and it is currently ranked number 11 on Board Game Geek. A lot of people love this game. I've enjoyed it. I haven't played it that much, but the experience that I have had with it was great. This is a game where you're basically taking your cattle, I believe, to Kansas City. So you're doing this cattle drive, and the game starts off, there's not a lot to do in between where you start with your cows to getting to the train station to sell them. There's a couple buildings and trading stops you can make along the way. But as the game goes on, people will start building buildings on the cattle trail, and you can start interacting more and more with these buildings to start selling your cows early or do different trades for points. And then when you get your cows to the end, you're trying to sell them. It has a great player board in front of you where a lot of actions are locked or blocked or not as good because they're covered with your little tokens. And as you're putting out buildings and interacting with the train station and different cities to drop off your cows, you get to take these tokens off, which unlocks more things on your player board. So the game starts off at this very simple state and starts to grow as the game's going on. It's got some hand management as you're trying to collect different cows, red cows, green cows, are worth different amounts of points. A lot of fun. Great Western Trail, my number 54. Moving on down, we are going to go to my number 53, and that is City of the Big Shoulders. A newer game, came out in 2019, currently ranked 641. There are a lot of people out there that like stock market games. Think of the 18xx games. This game takes that stock market theme, that 18xx theme, and just simplifies it down to its bare essentials, and I love that. Basically, you will be purchasing different companies to get them started in Chicago. You will be interacting with the central board to get workers and raw materials, and then sell the different materials, which increases the value of your company. But everybody can then start investing in your company. If your company is doing really good, they can be buying stocks in it. You can open up new companies by purchasing new companies to open them up and put their stocks on the board. So you're trying to buy a company, get its stock value up really high, and then go to another company, open that up, and get that processing as well. And then you're paying attention to what everyone else is doing. Really, really fun. And that is City of the Big Shoulders, my number 53. Number 52 is a deck building dungeon crawling game, and that is Thunderstone Quest. This game originally came out in 2008. It was re-released through a Kickstarter in 2018. It's currently ranked in the 300s on BoardGameGeek.com. Thunderstone Quest it's just got a lot of mechanics in it that I like. There's this central board market where you'll be buying goods and cards in order to build your deck of dungeon delvers. The side of the board is going to be a layout grid of this different dungeon, and you'll be moving your little miniature through these rooms to fight baddies to get points. You'll be able to upgrade your cards in your deck to make the heroes stronger. You can buy magic spells and stuff to put in your deck. It is just a great game. There's lots of ways to play it. There's a co-op mode. There's a versus mode. There is different stories that you can play through where the cards are pre-selected to kind of tell a story, or you can play, I think it's called the epic mode, where you just kind of shuffle all of these cards together to get this really big, expansive adventure, and every game will be so different. If you like dungeon crawly games with a little bit of deck building, this would be a great game for you. Thunderstone Quest, my number 52. To round out today's list, we have my number 51 game, and that is Taverns of Thiefenthal. In a prior list, we talked about Wolfgang Wasch's other game, Quacks of Quedlinburg, which is ranked a little bit higher than this one on Board Game Geek. This game is ranked 268, but I prefer Taverns just because it has that deck building element in it. Bag building, deck building, some of my favorite mechanics, but I love the deck building in this game, and I love how you get to upgrade your tavern. That is just so much fun. You're basically purchasing waiters and dishwashers. You're trying to get rich patrons to come into your establishment. You're trying to upgrade your tavern to hold more tables, maybe have a bigger beer storage. It's so much fun to try to get all this money to see how you can upgrade your tavern. It doesn't have a push your luck element the way Quacks does, but it is so exciting to flip these cards over from your deck that you built to see, okay, am I going to get my waitress? Is she going to show up tonight? Am I going to get some of these patrons that are going to give me a lot of money? A lot of fun. It's got dice drafting as well. All the dice kind of represent your patrons. You'll be rolling these dice every turn. You'll take one and pass on the set to the next player. So you can kind of plan ahead of what kind of patrons are going to be showing up to activate these different cards. That is Taverns of Thiefenthal, my number 51. I hope you enjoyed this countdown list today. If you do, give me a like and a subscribe. Go ahead in the comments, tell me what games you like or disagree with on my list. I'd love to hear other people's opinions, and stay tuned for my next list as we are counting down Mate Nason's top 100 games of all time that I love to play.